Being smart is often the reason you're invisible. If you rely on competence to get noticed, this will hit hard. You're good at what you do. You solve complex problems. You deliver quality work consistently. You've always believed that excellence speaks for itself. So you keep your head down. You focus on the work. You let your results do the talking. And then the promotion goes to someone else. Someone who's less skilled, less experienced, less capable, but somehow more visible. You watch people with half your competence get opportunities you deserved. You see colleagues who are objectively worse at their jobs climb faster than you, and you think, what am I missing? The answer isn't what you think. I'm Mr. Reed, and this is the Standard Project. And in the next 18 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly why smart people stay invisible and how to fix it. Follow me. Work doesn't reward intelligence. It rewards visibility paired with value. This is the brutal truth that smart people don't want to accept. You were taught, work hard, be competent, and success will follow. That's a lie. Or more accurately, it's incomplete. Harvard Business Review analyzed thousands of career progressions and found something shocking. Performance accounts for only 10% of career advancement. The other 90% is perception and visibility. Let me say that again. How good you are at your job matters 10%. How visible your value is to decision makers matters 90%. This isn't fair, but it's reality. And smart people consistently get this wrong. Because being smart creates a specific blind spot. You think results speak for themselves. So you operate with these assumptions. If I do excellent work, people will notice. If I solve hard problems, I'll be valued. If I'm competent, opportunities will come to me. These assumptions are killing your career. Here's what's actually happening. You're doing excellent work. In private, quietly, behind the scenes, your manager sees the end result, maybe, if they're paying attention. But they don't see the complexity you navigated, the problems you prevented, the obstacles you overcame, the expertise you applied. All they see is, the thing got done. Meanwhile, your less competent colleague is doing something completely different. They're not necessarily doing better work, but they're making their work visible. They're in the meetings where decisions are made. They're sending updates that surface their contributions. They're positioning their work as strategic, not just tactical. And when promotion discussions happen, guess whose name comes up? Not yours. Because you're invisible. Dr. Robert Cialdini's research on influence shows that visibility creates perceived value. When something is visible, people assume it's important. When something is invisible, people assume it's not, even if the invisible thing is objectively more valuable. Your competence is working against you because competent people, 1. Believe results should speak for themselves, they don't. 2. Think self-promotion is distasteful, it's necessary. 3. Focus on doing the work, not showing the work, fatal mistake. 4. Stay quiet and expect recognition to find them. It won't. You're operating with a fundamentally flawed strategy. And until you fix it, you'll stay invisible. The solution is the visibility leverage model. 3 principles. 1. Signal work, not effort. 2. Position ideas, not tasks. 3. Be seen at decision points. These 3 principles make your value impossible to ignore. Let me break down each one. Principle 1. Signal work, not effort. Nobody cares how hard you worked. They care about outcomes. This is a critical distinction that smart people consistently miss. You think talking about how much effort you put in demonstrates commitment. It doesn't. It demonstrates inefficiency. Stanford Graduate School of Business research shows that emphasizing effort actually decreases perceived competence. When you say, I worked 60 hours on this, people hear, I'm slow and inefficient. When you say, I delivered this ahead of schedule, people hear, I'm capable and efficient. Same work, completely different perception. Wrong, signal effort. I spent 40 hours analyzing this data. I worked all weekend to get this done. This took me 3 weeks of intensive research. What this signals? I'm a hard worker, but maybe not efficient. I want credit for my effort. Right, signal outcomes. This analysis identified $200,000 in cost savings. I delivered this 2 days ahead of deadline. This research uncovered 3 high-impact opportunities we weren't considering. What this signals: I produce results. I create value. I'm efficient and effective. The rule: talk about what you produced, not what you did. Frame everything in terms of outcomes, not activities. Examples of reframing. Activity: I scheduled 15 customer interviews. Outcome: customer interviews revealed our pricing is 20% too high for small businesses. Activity: I built a new dashboard. Outcome: leadership now has real-time visibility into conversion rates. Activity: I fixed the bugs in the system. Outcome: system uptime improved from 94% to 99.7%. Notice, the outcome version tells decision makers why this matters. The activity version just describes what you did. Decision makers don't think in activities, they think in value, so speak their language. Principle 2. Position ideas, not tasks. Don't talk about what you're doing. Talk about what it enables. This is how you shift from being seen as a task doer to being seen as a strategic thinker. Task level: I'm working on X. Strategic level: I'm working on X, which will enable Y strategic outcome. MIT Sloan research on organizational communication shows that people who connect their work to strategic outcomes are promoted 3 times faster than those who describe tasks. Why? Because strategic thinkers sound like leaders. Task doers sound like executors. And organizations promote strategic thinkers, not task doers. Task level: invisible. I'm building a new onboarding flow. I'm optimizing the database queries. I'm updating the documentation. These statements describe what you're doing. They don't explain why it matters. Strategic level: visible. I'm redesigning onboarding to reduce time to value from 30 days to 7 days. I'm optimizing database performance to support 10 times user growth without infrastructure costs. I'm updating documentation to reduce support tickets by 40% and free up the team for strategic work. These statements connect your work to business outcomes. Now decision makers understand why your work matters. The positioning formula: I'm working on task, which will strategic outcome. The task is what you're doing. The strategic outcome is why it matters to the business. More examples. I'm implementing automated testing, which will reduce deployment bugs by 80% and let us ship features weekly instead of monthly. I'm building relationships with key enterprise customers, which will give us case studies to accelerate sales cycles. I'm restructuring the team workflow, which will eliminate bottlenecks and increase output by 30%. Every time you talk about your work, connect it to strategic value. This trains people to see you as strategic, not tactical. Principle 3. Be seen at decision points. Visibility matters most when decisions are being made. You can do excellent work all year, but if you're not visible when promotions, raises, and opportunities are discussed, it doesn't matter. Columbia Business School research shows that physical and mental proximity during decision-making dramatically increases selection rates. Translation: if you're not in the room, literally or metaphorically, when decisions are made, you won't be chosen, even if you're the most qualified, because people choose who they see. Key decision points. 1. Performance reviews. Don't wait for your manager to remember what you did. Send a pre-review document summarizing your key wins, quantified impact, and strategic contributions. This becomes the anchor for the conversation. 2. Strategy meetings. These are where future priorities are set. If you're not in these meetings, you're not on the radar. Find ways to be present or to surface your perspective before these meetings. 3. Executive updates. When leadership is being briefed on your area, make sure your work is visible. Either present directly or ensure your manager knows to highlight your contributions. 4. Cross-functional collaborations. When you work with other teams, you become visible to other leaders. This expands your network and creates more advocates for you. 5. Crisis moments. When something breaks or urgent problems arise, being the person who solves it creates huge visibility. Don't hide during crises. Step up. The visibility calendar. Map out when decisions about your career are likely to happen. Annual review cycle, usually Q4 or Q1. Mid-year check-ins. Budget planning, when headcount and raises are decided. Quarterly business reviews, strategy planning sessions. In the 2 to 4 weeks before each of these, increase your visibility. Surface your wins, share impact, get in front of decision makers. Strategic visibility isn't constant, it's targeted. You don't need to be visible every day. You need to be visible at the moments when decisions are made. Now let me give you the exact tactics to apply this starting today, where visibility actually matters. Not all visibility is equal. Being visible to your immediate teammates doesn't move your career. Being visible to decision makers does. Where visibility matters. 1. Executive meetings. When senior leaders are in the room, your presence or contribution creates disproportionate impact. Find opportunities to present, contribute, or even just attend executive-level meetings. 2. Performance review cycles. The 4 weeks before your review is when you should be most visible. Send updates, share wins, make sure your manager has ammunition to advocate for you. 3. Strategy sessions. When the company is planning next year's priorities, your voice matters. Contribute ideas, share insights, position yourself as strategic. 4. Cross-functional initiatives. Working with other teams exposes you to other leaders. Volunteer for projects that span multiple departments. 5. All-hands meetings. When the entire company is paying attention, questions and contributions stand out. Don't waste this visibility by staying silent. Where visibility doesn't matter. Team-level meetings. Everyone already knows what you do. Internal team chat. Decision makers don't see this. Your desk. Nobody sees you working hard in silence. Private one-on-ones that never get escalated. Stop optimizing visibility in places that don't matter. Start optimizing visibility where decisions are made. Why hard work alone backfires. This is the painful truth. Working hard without visibility signals you're a task doer, not a leader. When you put your head down and grind, you're telling the organization, I'm here to execute tasks. I'm not here to shape strategy. Cal Newport's research on career capital shows that advancement requires more than competence. It requires reputation, relationships, and visibility. Hard work builds competence, but it doesn't build reputation or relationships. The hard work trap. You become the reliable executor, the person who gets things done quietly and efficiently, which sounds good. But here's what happens. When opportunities arise, leaders think they're too valuable in their current role. We can't afford to move them. You become indispensable in your current position, which traps you there. Meanwhile, the person who's 70% as competent but 300% more visible gets promoted. Because they're seen as a strategic thinker, they're in the meetings, they're sharing ideas, they're visible to decision makers, and visibility creates opportunity. The solution: do excellent work, but make it visible. Don't choose between competence and visibility. Combine them. Be the person who delivers results and communicates impact. That's the combination that gets promoted. How to surface value without bragging. Here's the concern every smart person has. If I talk about my accomplishments, won't I sound arrogant? The answer: it depends on how you frame it. Bragging, talking about yourself to elevate your status. Informing, sharing information about outcomes and value. Bragging, sounds arrogant. I'm really proud of what I accomplished this quarter. I think I did an amazing job. I'm probably the only person who could have pulled this off. You should see how much better my work is than everyone else's. Informing, sounds professional. For your information, the optimization I implemented last month reduced page load time by 40%. Quick update, the new process is working. We're seeing a 25% increase in conversion. Wanted to share, we closed the enterprise deal I've been working on, $500,000 ARR. Notice the difference. Bragging centers on you. I'm amazing. Informing centers on outcomes. Here's what happened. The non-bragging formula. For your information or quick update plus what happened plus business impact. Examples. For your information, the Customer Success Initiative launched. Early data shows 30% reduction in churn. Quick update, we resolved the scaling issue. System can now handle 10 times traffic without degradation. Wanted to share, the hiring process improvements cut time to hire from 90 days to 45 days. You're not saying, look how great I am. You're saying, here's what's happening in the business. When to surface value. 1. Weekly updates to your manager. Short bullet points of key accomplishments and progress. This keeps you top of mind. 2. Monthly stakeholder updates. If you work with cross-functional partners, send monthly summaries of impact. This expands your visibility beyond your immediate manager. 3. Before performance reviews. Send a comprehensive document 2 weeks before your review. Summarize your year in terms of business impact, not activities. 4. After major wins. When you ship something significant or achieve a key milestone, share it. Don't wait for someone else to notice. The key, frame it as information sharing, not self-promotion. You're keeping stakeholders informed about business outcomes. That's not bragging, that's professional communication. Let me leave you with this. Smart men don't get ignored because they're weak. They get ignored because they stay silent. That's the fundamental truth. You're not invisible because you're not good enough. You're invisible because you're not making your value visible. And I understand why you stay silent. You were taught that good work speaks for itself. You were taught that self-promotion is distasteful. You were taught to let your results do the talking. These are good values in theory, but they don't work in practice. Because in organizations, perception matters more than reality. Visibility matters more than competence. Communication matters more than execution. Jeffrey Pfeffer's research on organizational dynamics at Stanford shows that political skill, the ability to navigate organizational systems and make yourself visible, is the strongest predictor of career success. Stronger than intelligence, stronger than work ethic, stronger than technical competence. Political skill means visibility. It means knowing when to speak up. It means knowing how to position your work. It means knowing who needs to see your value. And you can develop this skill. You don't have to fundamentally change who you are. You just have to change how you communicate what you do. The shift. From, I'll do excellent work and hope someone notices, to, I'll do excellent work and make sure the right people know about it. That's the only difference between smart people who stay invisible and smart people who advance. Before visibility strategy, work hard in silence, deliver excellent results, get passed over for promotions, wonder why less competent people advance, feel frustrated and undervalued. After visibility strategy, work hard and communicate impact, deliver excellent results and surface value, get considered for opportunities, advance at the rate your competence deserves, feel recognized and valued. Same competence, same work ethic, different communication, and that makes all the difference. You don't need to become a different person. You need to make your value impossible to ignore. Now you understand why smart people stay invisible. And you know the visibility leverage model. Signal work, not effort. Position ideas, not tasks. Be seen at decision points. This will make you visible, but visibility alone isn't enough. You need to convert visibility into respect, because you can be visible and still not be taken seriously. You can be in the meetings. You can communicate your value. You can position your work strategically. But if you don't command respect, it doesn't matter. People will see you, but they won't listen to you. Respect comes from how you carry yourself physically, how you speak and when you speak, the boundaries you set and enforce, the standards you hold, the presence you project. These are learnable skills, and they're the difference between being visible and being respected. Visible, but not respected. You're in the meetings. People know who you are. But when you speak, they don't really listen. Your ideas get ignored or credited to someone else. You stay stuck at the same level, visible and respected. You're in the meetings. People know who you are. When you speak, the room pays attention. Your ideas get implemented and credited. You advance rapidly. The combination of visibility and respect is unstoppable. If you want a system to move from invisible to respected, watch what comes next. because the next video shows you the exact career mistakes that keep even visible people broke and stuck. The mistakes that smart men make after they become visible. Mistakes like staying too long at one company without negotiating, over-delivering without communicating value, optimizing for likability instead of respect, waiting for promotion instead of positioning for it. These mistakes cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars over your career, and most smart people make them without realizing it. Visibility gets you noticed, but avoiding these mistakes gets you paid and promoted. Watch the next video now. One standard, greatness. One project, you.